Okay, we are rolling, and we are on number 3 of our lesson 1.1 quiz practice. Numbers 1 and 2 we did yesterday, so that's on a different video. So we're going to start with number 3, which is actually a little bit tricky. One of my students earlier said it's
Abby.
no worries. No worries. Okay. So one of my students said this is kind of like a trick question, and he was right. There's something very deceptive about this information. So let's read it and see if we can figure out what is a little bit tricky about this. Tim has 74 socks.
That's a lot of socks.
Right?
Even though I have more, but like I lost some of mine.
Yeah, I guess you need extra.
I got like
in case you
and
use
some of
them.
them are like old.
Back to me, please. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Sure. Okay, pay attention to this, okay? Tim has 74 socks that are white or black. So it's just a mixture of white and black. He has one more pair of white socks than of black socks. So I'm going to say that again. He has 74 socks. He has one more pair of white socks than of black socks. Then it says, how many individual socks of each color does he have? What's a really important word in this question?
Pair, because pair means.
No, in the question. I know you're right. That's an important word. Have individual socks.
I said it first.
Okay. We're all amazing. You're all amazing. So are we starting to catch on to the little bit of like a, hey, this is a trick question. They're kind of talking about two different things, right? What are the two different things they're talking about? I'm not talking about that there's black socks and white socks. The two different things, what are they talking about?
Pairs and individuals?
Yes. And when I first read this question, I did not catch on to that right away. That's why I told you, when I read word problems, it takes me a couple of times to really understand what information is being given and what information I can use to solve it. So, he has 74 socks total, right? Do you agree that the total number of socks is 74? Now, since he only has black and white socks, do you agree that I can simply say the black socks plus the white socks will equal the total number of socks, right? Black socks plus white socks. I'll do black socks plus white socks will equal 74 socks total. Again, we're not talking about pairs right now. We're talking about socks. Now, he does say something. He starts comparing the number of socks, right? And he gives a little extra word and says a pair of socks. Okay. Now let's compare the black socks and the white socks. He has one more. Well, let me back this up. Before we move on, I'm going to use variables to represent my black socks and my white socks. What would you guys like to use? What would make the most sense?
Crazy socks.
No. We're going to use a variable.
Oh, B and W.
B and W.
Yeah.
So we'll do B plus W will equal a total of 74 socks. So, two variables can't solve. But if they give us more information, he has one more pair of white socks than of black socks. One more pair of white than black. One more pair of white than black. So whatever number of black socks he has, how can we represent the number of white socks? If pretend we knew how many black socks, what would we say about the white socks?
It would be one more
One more
pair.
Very good. So do you agree that we could represent the number of white socks by saying, well, the white socks is the same thing as the black socks plus what? 2. Very good.
2 pairs.
Because one would just, it says one pair. That's the tricky part, is a trick question. It says one pair, so we have to know that a pair means 2 socks. So if we can represent the number of white socks saying, well, he has one more pair of white than black, so whatever he has in black, we just add 2 more socks. Yes?
Could you do 72 divided by 2 and then get your equal part
So-
and then add 2?
Yes,
That's
and you absolutely can. And in this case, it's not asking you to write an equation, but a lot of tests and quizzes will ask you to write the equation first. And that, even though you can find the answer by just like working out those steps in your head, you would get it wrong when it asks you to write the equation. For example, like number 1, it actually asks you to write the equation. Number 4, you have to choose the correct equation. So the big part about this lesson is making sure we can write an equation properly, okay? So we agree that W can be represented by B plus 2 socks. And B can still just represent the number of black socks. So I have B plus B plus 2 equals 74. What can we do next?
I have mine with
Well, I'm asking what do we do next with this equation?
add 2 to B.
What?
Add 2 to B.
Add 2 to B, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay, so if B is a B term, 2 doesn't have a variable, so those are not like terms. But I like that you're trying to combine things because there are 2 things that we can combine because they are like terms. B and B. What's B plus B?
B.
2B.
2B, very good. And if you need your invisible ones to appear, if you want your invisible ones to appear, to make the addition easier for you, just make those invisible ones appear. 1B plus 1B is 2B plus 2 equals 74. Are you guys with me? Now, next step. Aubrey, can you tell me the next step for solving? What are we trying to solve for now? Yes, you did. What are we trying to solve for?
Socks.
We're trying to solve for B. So, Aubrey, can you tell me if we're trying to solve for B, I'll give you a hint, there are 2 operations here that we need to take care of. Which one should we do first? Yes, subtract 2 from both sides. Cancel 2B equals 72. Yes, Ricky.
And then after divide by 2.
On
Both sides.
Perfect.
Would get 35. No, not 35.
not 35. What's 72 divided by 2? You guys are all ready to stop there. 36. Now let's go back to the question. All we did was we found B. What does B represent? The number of black socks. Is it the number of pairs of socks or is it individual?
Pairs of black.
Individual. Okay? Remember, we worked with the individual number. Okay? We worked with the individual number because they want the answer in individual socks. So I kept everything in individual socks and then I converted the pair into 2 individual socks. That was my conversion for this problem. If I find that B is 36 individual socks, that means there are 36 black socks. How do I find out how many white socks there are?
You subtract 74.
You add 2.
You add 2. It's okay. You add 2. Because didn't we say that W, the number of socks for W, the number of white socks, would be whatever B is plus 2. Remember we said, well, we're going to represent W by B plus 2. So to find out how many white socks, we would just do B plus 2. And B is 36, so 36 plus 2 equals
38.
38. Now, if you add up 38 and 36,
Yes,
does that give you 74
Yes.
socks? So do you realize that on your quiz, when you get your numbers, add them up to the original socks to make sure it's correct. If you made a mistake, try to see, maybe you accidentally put +1, okay? That can make just a little tiny difference that will,
I did it a different way.
okay.
I divided the 74 and then that's the total, so I subtracted 2 from the divided number.
Okay.
And then I added.
And that's exactly, I need everybody to pay attention because that's you think you did it differently, you did it exactly the same as us, but you just didn't set it up as a linear equation. And the whole point of this lesson is being able to take information, set it up as a linear equation, and then solve for the answer. Because, what lesson is this? What lesson?
1.1.
1. This is lesson 1. Do you think the questions at the end of the book that we're going to be setting up equations for are going to be like, oh, well, don't you just divide by this and do it in your head?
No.
You're going to need to set up equations. Okay, are we good on this? Ready for the next one?
Wait, what's the answer to W?